Dear Robert, I have just returned from a day visit to my old home in Kyrenia. For the first time in 29 years. I cried all the way back. I can't stop crying even now that I'm writing this letter.
My little dog, Sweetheart, keeps staring at me, wondering what's the matter with me.
I know it's silly of me, but I can't help it. I should have felt very happy on this rather rare occasion, but honest to God, I don't. I don't see how one could, under the given circumstances, and yet there were thousands of people full of joy despite the long hours of waiting and hardship. Queues of cars were miles long. We, my sister and my daughter, had to abandon our car and go by coach. It was like entering a foreign country, not your own land. Carrying passports, filling forms, answering tedious and embarrassing silly questions. I don't know whether we did the right thing to go through this ordeal, but the desire, the longing to see the place you were born and grew up is so strong that it had overeaten all adversaries. The worst thing was to swallow one's pride and the indignation of entering your occupied land without having reached an agreement. A settlement based on the UN latest proposals. Now that the island's accession to Europe is becoming a reality. It is this factor that I think has persuaded the Turkish authorities to open the gates at the Attila line on a daily basis. Although one cannot help being suspicious of the real motives of such a move, only time can tell. The good thing is that lots of Turkish Cypriots visited the free zone for the first time since July 1974, when they were transferred north by the leadership to occupy our homes. It proves the point that people have no problem mixing together.
Which was the argument that Denktash, the Turkish leader, has always used to split the island with the blessing of US and Britain.
Although had is a guarantor power with 2 sovereign military bases on the island, the right and obligation to intervene and stop both the Greek junta coup against President Makarios and the Turkish invasion. They just stood there watching the rape of women, the killing of innocent people, and the first ethnic cleansing of 200,000 people from their homes. They should all have been brought to the European Court of Human Rights years ago, but they always get away with it, like they did in Iraq by sexing up the dossier of a WMD. I feel so upset, so angry every time I think about it. But there you are. That's how things are. I'm afraid the might is right. It's always been so. Since the cradle of civilization, nothing has changed. The Iraq invasion proved the point. As long as US and Britain were in control of the UN, everything was okay. And that's exactly what happened in Cyprus in 1974. Despite of so many UN resolutions and sanctions to get the Turkish troops out and unify the island, nothing has been done about it. For it was in the US and British interest to prolong the occupation and the division of Cyprus since Turkey was a powerful ally and member of NATO. The UN had to toe the line, for US had total financial control over it.
And there was us, the fools, marching the streets of every world capital in the world under the hot, pouring sun and rain,
shouting slogans about human rights and international law of justice. All in vain. And when the UN decided, in the case of Iraq, enough is enough, and had put its foot down against the war, US and Britain bypassed the UN and invaded, showing the true colors. That was a unique opportunity for the UN to be. Like the Asian Greek Areospagos, the Supreme Court, the arbitrary body that human race desperately needs. For nobody should be above the international law. It should be just like the principle of traffic lights. When it is green, you pass. When it's yellow, you wait. And when it's red, you stop. It is as simple as that. Talking about traffic lights, very few seem to take any notice of them in the occupied part of the island. We went through Nicosia, passing through lights as if there were none. And we went through crossings from village to village with hardly any lights at all. Most of villages were deserted, with the old houses collapsed or demolished. It was such a painful sight. I remember traveling the route from Kyrenia to Nicosia and back with my mother and sisters at least once a week. They were the happiest days of my life since early childhood. Driving onto the Pentadactylos, the Five Fingers Mountains.
It was such a joy, especially in the evenings when the sun is setting and the birds singing Kalispera and Kalinikta messages to each other.
With the lovely smell of pine trees and the wonderful view of the Kyrenia harbor with its old Venetia castle and its little fishing boats. My heart was beating as we turned the mountain curve, leading down to the old town, whether it was still the same after 29 years of occupation. 29 years, it's a hell of a long time. I was a young woman in my early 20s, just returned from London where I got my degree in art. I remember I was full of life and energy, full of wonderful dreams, looking forward to an exciting future in my beautiful little town. I wanted to paint, to teach young kids what I've learned in St. Martin's College and share with them the joyful mysteries of color, light and shade. I started painting in frenzy, people, animals, trees, landscapes, buildings, the clouds, the sea, the boats. I was in such a hurry, as if I knew what was going to happen. That we did not have much time. There was so much to do. Heavy dark clouds were gathering from Turkey, overshadowing the full July moon, climbing over the top of Pentadactylos. I had the nasty feeling of something terrible was going to happen. You could read that in my paintings. Unfortunately, I've lost everything after the invasion. We didn't have time to take anything with us. It was so sudden, unexpected. We were not prepared for it.
And besides, we thought it would be a temporary thing.
That with the fall of Greek junta and the restoration of democracy in Greece, both US and Britain will stop the invasion and occupation of 38% of the Republic of Cyprus. How wrong we were. We were so naive. Had President Makarios been killed by the Greek junta officers and the OKP, there would have been no cause for Turkish invasion. They would have dissolved the Republic of Cyprus and they would have imposed the American Aegiso Plan, which it was to unite Cyprus with Greece and give Turkey a big military base in the north of the island, which Makarios opposed. But because Makarios survived, Kissinger gave the green light to the Turkish military force to invade and occupy. I'm sorry, forgive me. I keep coming back to the same point over and over again. I can't get it out of my system. It has become an obsession, a sort of ghost that keeps haunting me. It's like the ghost of Hamlet's father or the Furies in Orestia, that they will never rest until the murderers are brought to justice and pay for the crimes. Claudius, Orestes, Kissinger. It's amazing how art can be the compass or the lantern of the human race. Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripides, Aristophanes, Shakespeare, you name them. They voiced the divines wrote against human injustice.
Yet
the mighty of mankind have always violated it. History has not taught them anything. I wonder if they ever learn.
Art seems to be above human nature in that respect.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find any of my paintings. The old house was still there, but it was in such ruins. I was shocked. We couldn't get in from the front door. One of the neighbors said that the last person that lived there was an old man who died, and since then nobody lived there. We had to go out the back way and climbed over the wall to get into the house. The yard was full of wild plants and weeds. I remember my mother, how proud she was of her garden. It was full of roses and other beautiful flowers. She also used to plant tomatoes, potatoes, lettuces, cucumbers, you name it. She had chicken, rabbits, and even ducks, which provided regular meals for us all, 7 altogether, including Mother, who at the age of 30 became a widow. She never married again. She sacrificed herself to us all. She was such a good mother. She used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to clean offices, shops and houses to make ends meet and to enable her to pay for our schooling. She got the contract to wash our town's police uniforms. And because she was illiterate and did not know how to write the names, she marked each uniform with a different color thread. She was such a hard-working woman. She died as a refugee in her own land soon after the invasion. We couldn't stop crying, the 3 of us. We entered of what remained of the rest of the house.
The kitchen, the toilet was not there anymore. Even the roof of the main hall was gone.
Where we used to sit for hours watching the slow motion life of our sleeping town. Passing by day after day and never got bored. There was so much happening in its own simple way. I could write pages and pages about its people, colorful characters, rich or poor, full of anecdotes with sad and happy endings. I wonder what happened to them all. 29 years is a hell of a long time. I'm sure most of them must be dead now, especially those who were their 40s and 50s. I remember, in the early days after the invasion, people were preparing their suitcases ready to return back to their homes. They cried, "I want to go home!" Haunted us all ever since. And here we are, after 29 years, visiting for one day only our occupied, ruined home. why I can't stop crying. I entered our bedroom, which I shared with my two sisters and mother. The little roof was still there, only there was now a bigger hole. You could see the blue sky through it. How many sleepless nights I spent in that room, dreaming about the past, worrying about the present, planning the future. I loved painting. I started painting since I was a child. I was good at it. Everybody said I had a talent for it. My art teacher especially encouraged me to come to London. That was early 60s.
Cyprus had, after 4 years of struggle for empires, it became a republic.
They were exciting times. At last, Cyprus was free. How naive we were, all of us, including President Makarios. After signing under a lot of pressure the Zurich Agreement in 1959, arriving at Nicosia Airport, the first words he said,
"I Kypros είναι ελευθέρα!"
Cyprus is free. If only he knew. He died from a heart attack in 1977, 3 years after the Greek Juda coup and the Turkish invasion. The dream was shattered and we had to pick up the pieces. Thousands of people were uprooted from their homes, the villages and towns. So many killed and so many still missing. We fought for Enosis, we got partition. That's why I can't stop crying. Such a waste. They say that after the events one becomes wise. I wonder. Look at the invasion and occupation of Iraq by the Americans and the British, the occupation of Palestine by Israel, on the excuse that they are fighting terrorists. Is a young person who gives his or her life for the freedom of one's country a terrorist? Well, all those young Cypriots, Karaolis, Dimitriou, Avxentiu, and so many others who died fighting British imperialism in the 50s, terrorists? My second eldest brother, when he was arrested and tortured by the British, he was only 16. I remember quite clearly the night they arrested. They entered his room, which was just opposite ours. It was winter, pouring with rain. They banged the door with their guns, shouting, "Open the door!" My poor mother went and opened it. They went straight into his room. They knew exactly where he was. They handcuffed him and took him away. They put him in jail and tortured him as a terrorist. We were so angry, so upset, full of hate for the British and the Turkish Cypriot auxiliary police who collaborated with them. We were only kids then, but we were ready to die to free our brother. Would that have made us terrorists? Nearly 50 years have passed since, and the memory is still so strong, so painful. I took my daughter to see his room. It was dilapidated. We found among the ruins a little boat. It had the name Kerinia, the jewel of the Levant. It was made by my younger brother who loved the sea so much. He later became a wireless operator on the Greek merchant ship. It was he who paid for my tuition at St. Martin's College. He returned to Cyprus a year before the invasion took place. He got married and built his own house. He hardly lived in. He and his wife became refugees in July 1974. He now lives in London with his wife, his two grown-up sons, his daughter-in-law, and 2 grandchildren in a tiny council house. His dream is to return to his home, but there is just a little glimpse of hope. I wonder, for Rauf Denktash, the Turkish Cypriot leader, has ironically said,
"The honeymoon season between the two sides may not last forever."
Because difficult issues such as the return of refugees and property still not have been settled, one is not, of course, surprised at Mr. Denktaş's negative attitude. He has already opposed the latest UN resolution, 1475, for a just viable and workable solution to the Cyprus problem, offering wide autonomy for the 2 communities in their separate zones. It also required the Turkish Cypriots, who are about 80% of the total population before the invasion, but now holding 37% of the island's territory, it's been asked to hand over 8%, which is not really enough. But even that, he's refusing to accept, for he had brought, since the invasion and occupation, over 80,000 mainland Turkish settlers and 40,000 Turkish troops with the families to whom he gave other people's homes and property as their own. And what is even worse, some of them sold these homes to English people through British-run estate agencies in the north, even though they know that the deeds belong to the Greek Cypriots owners. One such English person said that if the real owner asked him to return the house,
"I'll tell him to bugger off."
Another British fellow who bought a stolen house, when asked by the owner, "Look after my house," he said,
"I will do, it's mine."
Well, I never such arrogance. It's just like the Israeli settlers, building huge housing estates on Palestinian land. It makes me furious, so angry.
It's the sort of attitude that creates suicide bombers, the so-called terrorists.
Of course, one should explore other alternatives, like going to the European Court of Human Rights, as Loizidu did. For violence breeds violence, and there is no end to violence. But it shows you that even me, who cannot hurt a fly, could become such a terrorist under such unbearable circumstances. But what really upset me most and made me mad, it's our own people, filling the cafes, restaurants and wine bars at the Kyrenia port, eating, drinking, laughing and gambling at the casinos as if nothing has happened, as if this honeymoon, as Denktash calls it, was real, and that the bride and bridegroom will live happily ever after. This sudden euphoria upsets me. It's like the US roadmap for the Palestinians. Unless George Bush is willing to do to Sharon, Denktash, and the like of them what they did to Saddam, there is hardly any hope for peace in the region. I'm sorry to sound so pessimist and rather cynical. But one has to look at the facts as they are and not as one would like them to be. Although the events of the last few days have proved that no artificial green line until ago can keep the people apart forever, yet the voice of Turkish Prime Minister echoed like that of Hoxha at the minaret, saying over and over again,
"The only solution of Cyprus is a confederation of 2 separate states."
And it is this kind of talk that has bogged us down for 29 years.
The only glimpse of hope as in old Europe.
We'll see in a year's time whether the old ghost that haunted us for over 3 decades could eventually put to rest. My dear Robert, I apologize for this long and rather tedious letter, but I felt to share with you some of my thoughts and feelings about what is now happening in our world today, which affects us all. With love from me, my family, and my little doggy sweetheart.
Sarah!
They call me Mother Earth. Honestly, I don't see why. Hypocrites, that's what they are, each and every one of them. On the one hand, they say they love you, they adore you, they worship you, and on the other hand, they shit on you. They make me sick, my horrible children, that is. Look at the state I'm in, an old hag. They don't fucking care about me. They don't give a damn what happens to me. Here I am on my endless journey, day in and day out, month in, month out, millions of decades, and my bloody sons and daughters behave as if they're immortals. In this they own my fucking rare blue planet, carrying on without any sense of guilt or regret, with this blind, stupendous mentality from generations to generations. The arrogant bastards, the fools, oh, they make me ever so mad. Sometimes I just want to shake them off my back and throw them all in the abyss. To do exactly what my ex-boyfriend Zeus had in his manly conservative mind, to get rid of mankind and replace it with something more of universal value. Now, had our son Prometheus not stolen the secret of fire and given it to that miserable, idiotic lot of miserables, oh, they make me sick, they honestly do. They're not capable of learning the ABC or facts of cosmic life. They use violence, brutality, raping, killing, ethnic cleansing, bringing settlers to occupy other people's lands and homes, villages and towns, to change the demographic character of a mixed population on ethnic and religious grounds, imposing segregation and apartheid, showing its ugly face in the 21st century in the name of God or Allah, on the pretext of securing universal peace on earth. That's a joke. Partitioning countries like India, Palestine, Ireland, Syria and Iraq. You name it, they open wounds that never heal, planting the seeds of hatred instead of love and hope. Take Brexit, for instance, with a cock-up business, a sheer bravado, raw Britannia and everything that goes with it, which gets you nowhere nowadays. I'm telling you, you just wait and see. Next we'll have a fucking renaissance. A great leap forward, a kick up the arse to get us out of this bloody mess. And why not, I ask you? The Greeks did it in the 5th century BC. As if that wasn't enough, they plunged us into this bloody Peloponnesian war. Stupid conflict between Athens and Sparta about hegemony, which lasted 30 years. 30 years, putting an end to the golden age of the cradle of Western civilization, pushing us back again in the Dark Ages until the 16th century AD, when a new enlightenment lifted us up all again, to the 20th century with its 2 bloody wars, which the BBC shows over and over again, Churchill's warmongering in celebration of the so-called heroic era. I tell you, I am sick of it. I've had enough. I'm off.
Mother Earth! Mother Earth, please! Hey! Mother Earth, I'm here! Don't go! Don't leave us! We need you!
Yes, I've heard that before, dear, whatever your name is.
Oh, I'm your good neighbor. I'm Venus. Hey, don't you recognize me?
Oh, I don't say I do. My eyes are not what they used to be.
You're Anne? Hello. I'm Aphrodite. Venus, born in your lovely Cyprus.
Don't talk to me about my lovely Cyprus. I had enough. I'm fucking sick of it.
Oh, come on, Mother.
I'm sick of it. 42 years and no sign of the solution. It's as bad as Palestine.
Oh, no, Mother, you're wrong.
I'm not.
Yes, you are, Mother. You see, in Cyprus at least, the two sides have been talking to each other. Where's Palestine?
Rubbish. Talking to each other under the presence of 43 Turkish occupying troops for a binomial bicommunal solution.
Federation, if you don't mind.
Doesn't make the slightest difference. It's a camouflage or partition to legalise the Turkish invasion and occupation of 37% of the island and the eventual Turkification of the whole of Cyprus. That's what Turkey was really after, ever since she was forced by the British to sign the 1922 Luzon Treaty, abandoning all rights to Cyprus. You should know your history, dear, and take a stand against it if you don't want your whole Cyprus to be wiped out, as was Hellenism wiped out from the whole of Minor Asia, bunch of Turkish Mongolian warriors. They exterminated all the Armenians, Greeks, and other citizens of the Byzantium Empire by sheer force. Exactly what ISIS is doing now. Or maybe you don't give a shit about that either.
Oh, Mother, how can you say that?
You were the cause of the Trojan War once upon a time, if you don't mind me saying so.
Who? Me?
Yes,
seriously.
you, Venus, out of sheer vanity. You made beautiful Helen fall in love with Paris, the playboy prince of Troy, whom she eloped to Troy with.
Oh, well, I was very young in those days, you know, naive. Besides, thanks to that silly act of mine, you know what? Homer wrote his Iliad and Odyssey, Aeschylus is Orestia, Sophocles Electra, and Euripides is Orestes and his Electra. Making what, Mother? Tell me, making mankind a lot richer with their dramatic poetry and literature.
Oh, you're talking a load of nonsense, dear.
Oh, no, Mother, I don't.
Troy was burned to ashes as a result of your action. And you got away with it.
Oh, well, surely you can't blame me for that.
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, well, I was just a silly girl, you know. I thought, well, why not? That could be a beautiful love story with a happy ending, too.
Which it wasn't quite. The opposite. It was a macabre, a tragic ending, if you don't mind me saying so. A whole city was wiped out as a result of it. I'm telling you, all we need now, what I'm waiting for, is something like a Nuremberg trial for the Trojan War, where all the perpetrators, including you, are brought to justice.
Well, but they have been already brought to justice, Mother. You only have to read the Orestia to find out. Listen, Agamemnon was killed by his wife Clytemnestra and her lover Aegisthus. Clytemnestra was killed by her son and daughter Orestes and Electra. Orestes was put on a trial at the Supreme Court of Athens, Areopagus, and was
acquitted.
Yeah, by Athena, the goddess of Athens.
What kind of justice is that?
Well, she was the goddess of wisdom. You should ask her.
Wisdom? My foot. Don't give me that crap. A murderer of his mother and he gets away with it. Oh, it reminds me of that South African athlete. What's his name? Starts with a P, if my memory fails me at the moment. Never mind, it'll come to me. Who killed his girlfriend and got away with it? Well, with a woman judge.
He was eventually brought back to justice and was found guilty after all.
He was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment. You call that justice? No, there is no such thing as justice on my planet, where the might is right, the rich and the powerful are above the law. Take your lovely Cyprus, for instance, where a brutal, ruthless, vicious invasion took place of the island, ethnic cleansing, raping, killing, burying men alive, settlers to change the demographic character of a Hellenic island. And they got away with it, calling it a peace operation to be nominated for a Nobel Prize. The arrogance, the audacity makes me sick. I've had enough.
No, Mother, please. Please don't go. Mother, please, I love you. You know I love you. Please tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
Set your own trial. Admit your guilt. Set an example, then try and convince Erdogan. Sultan, Turkey's new Sultan.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm 100% serious.
Oh, come on, mother, be reasonable.
Never does not exist in my vocabulary.
You have to be reasonable. He'll never do that.
So did the British about slavery, and they admitted it, and they apologised. They should do the same about their colonisation and imperialism. They open wounds that never heal. Whereas the young Turks of today, like the Erdogan endorsed in Cyprus by insisting on a bizonal bicommunal federation, where the minority have political equality with the majority, which if accepted would create havoc on our planet.
Mother, please, what must I do?
You must make sure the present negotiations between the two sides come to no fruition and reach a deadlock.
But why? Why, Mother?
Oh my God, you are so thick-headed! No wonder George Noskov made fun of you in his play The Brave
Oh,
Heart.
come on, please. That was ridiculous. That was absurd. Whoever heard such a nonsense? Having me being born in a remote, dirty, freezing British seaside instead of my lonely Cyprus. I was so upset when I found out. Seriously, honestly, had it not died after, I would take legal action against him, against Theatrotechnis, and you know what? Mr. Eugeniu should have been known better, being a Cypriot himself, you know? He made me ever so angry, angry.
Far too sensitive, dear, just like Erdogan. He demanded that Angela Merkel take legal action against him, the German comedian who made fun of him on German TV. Anyway, that's beside the point.
What do you mean?
The point is that you haven't grasped the seriousness of the situation brought about. The UN, US, UK, EU and NATO inspired negotiations between the two Cypriot leaders, which, I repeat, to legalise the Turkish invasion, occupation and partition of your lovely Cyprus, rewarding Turkey for her peace operation with a hegemony over the whole Cyprus.
What? Hegemony? What's that word? What do you mean?
Shame on you, Venus. Agreed that you haven't heard the word hegemony.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say I don't. It's the first time I heard that word.
Honestly, Venus, you surprise me.
Oh.
Haven't you heard of Thucydides?
Oh, no, who's he?
A historian.
Oh, well, I was never good at history. I was lost in the class. Being the goddess of love, I'm only interested in love and romance.
Anyway, for your enlightenment, dear Venus, Thucydides in his Peloponnesian War, fascinating book, describes the causes of the war, and one major cause was the struggle over hegemony, over control between Athens and Sparta, which lasted 30 years, and ended with defeat, the destruction of Athens. Which brings to mind the USA hegemony over the rest of the world since the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 80s, and which is now challenged by China. That's not the end of it. For violence breeds violence.
Well, but what? All we need to counteract that is love, Mother. I'm sure.
Oh, don't give me that shit.
What? Mother, listen. It's about erotic love and agape. That's all we need.
You still live in the cuckoo land.
Oh, no, I don't.
No, yes you do. Just look around yourself. Be convinced. Open your eyes. Look at the mess we're in.
No, I don't need to do that, Mother. You know what? I am what I am. And no one, listen to me, no one can take that away from me.
Don't be so bloody sure, dear. You're vulnerable like everybody else, and that includes me.
Oh, come on, Mother. Why are you so angry with me? What have I done to deserve these?
You know what you've done to deserve this.
No, I don't. Honest to God, I don't.
You know very well what you've done, and stop pretending.
No, I don't know.
Oh, it's so fucking typical of you, and frivolous. You're so vain.
Stop it, Mother. That's enough. I'm done. You're hurting me.
Do I?
Yes, you do. It's so bloody painful listening to you talking to me like that.
Is that so? Have you forgotten the pain you gave me and my daughter Moira out of sheer jealousy? You made her fall in love with her father and made love with him in ineffable
What are
places.
you talking about? How could you?
And she gave birth to Adonis, who you fell madly in love with.
Stop it, mother. Stop it. I call Hermes Mercury. Please stop it.
Are you threatening me?
No, but...
But what?
But you're forcing me to hate you. Which I hate you. Stop me.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, keep out of this, Hermes, Mercury, whatever your name is. There's nothing to do with you.
But I heard my name.
Yes, what it was me.
Antonia.
Mother's been rather cruel to me.
Why are you crying? So why she been cruel?
She's on a bad mood today. You keep out of it.
No, let it stay. I want him to be a witness.
Witness to what exactly?
To Venus's trial.
Come on, a trial for what?
For the crimes against humanity.
Who? Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, you know what? You're mad. You are mad.
Oh, come on. Let's speak. Go on, Mother.
She was the cause of the Trojan War. She made my daughter Moira fall in love with her father. And she refuses to take a stand against the Turkification of the Hellenic island.
Look, if it's Cyprus you're talking about, then, Mother, I'm afraid you're wrong.
Don't start.
Let me speak, mother. Go on, Hermes.
Look, first I'd like to remind you that Cyprus is under the Ottoman Empire for what, 300 years? And that alone is good enough evidence, surely, to prove that Cyprus can no longer be considered Aphrodite's island. I mean, it's Venus, it's let alone Hellenic.
Hermes.
It's the Ottoman millet.
What's me left?
Well, community in religious terms has meant that Hellenism no longer dominates the island, despite the fact the majority of Cypriots were Greek-speaking Christians. And the Turkish Cypriot Muslim minority, who were the descendants of the Ottomanites, well, they were the dominant class even long after the British took over. First as leaseholders, when the Sultan, well, he gave the island to Queen Victoria when she helped him against the Russians in the Crimean War. And then as freeholders when Turkey had to abandon any rights to Cyprus in 1922 under the Lausanne Treaty.
But where did you learn of that, Hermes?
Oh, in the University of Istanbul.
Constantinopolis, you mean?
Well, that's where I studied law.
That explains why you hold those old, medieval and rather dark age views, giving the Turkish minority mere 18% political equality, with the Greek majority of 82%, that lived in Cyprus for over 13 centuries. Despite many invaders, including the Ottomans, have kept their Hellenic roots, which you and Venus have abandoned and forgotten by the look of it.
Oh, come on, mother. Don't be so bloody ridiculous. Come on.
I'm not. And you watch your language, my girl.
You're prejudiced, mother. Hermes was only trying, to put an opposite point of view, weren't you, darling?
Look, I'm just trying to look at the Cyprus problem from UN's point of view, under whose auspices the present negotiations for a viable, just and long-lasting bi-zonal, bi-communal solution have been conducted.
Which is not a solution, but a legalisation of an illegal regime to appease and reward Turkey for fighting the US, EU and NATO's dirty wars in the Middle East.
Look, nevertheless, Turkey is a major Middle Eastern player and an important ally to the West. Any solution to the Cyprus problem has got to be endorsed by her.
The criminal, the invader, the raper, the killer, the cleanser, the occupier of the Republic of Cyprus, which Erdogan has the arrogance and the audacity to say that he doesn't recognise. As far as he's concerned, it doesn't exist, despite the fact that the Republic of Cyprus is recognised internationally and is one of the 27 countries in the EU.
Mice is right.
Not for me, Hermes, Mercury, whatever you want to call yourself.
Look, you know I prefer Mercury.
For me, it's a crime. It's punishment. Nobody should be above the law. And you, as an ex-student of law, should know better, Mercury.
What must be done, mother?
I've already told you. Start your own trial to save your island.
Oh, that's absurd.
No, it's not.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Look, I've got an idea. The only way to save Cyprus is a Machiavellian approach. You should read his Prince or his Madrigola, a classic example of his principle of the end justifying the means.
No, which was such an expert, no doubt.
Oh, come on, mother.
No, she's right, I'm an expert. I suggest that you do to Erdogan's daughter what you did to Mother's daughter, Moira. Make her fall mad in love with her father.
You must be joking.
No, I'm not. It's the only way to force him to leave Cyprus to the Cypriots. A scandal of that magnitude would be far more effective than any abortive military coup against him. Angela, he's actually sure on your side too. Don't forget, he's told them to stop taking contraceptives if he wants to increase the Muslim population in Turkey. So what you should do is become their heroine. Become their Cypriot goddess.
Oh, I
And
love
they'll worship you. Look, all you better do is wear a Turkish scarf.
Don't listen to him, my dear. He's talking fucking nonsense. Two wrongs don't make a right. Forget about Erdogan and his daughter. Concentrate more on Obama, the US president. Do you remember what Marilyn Monroe did on his birthday? Happy birthday, Mr. President. He's the real power behind all this.
Yeah, that's a waste of time, Mother. He won't go in. Besides, he's going to be retiring soon.
Well, what about that man, Mr. Moon?
You mean the Secretary of the UN? Well, he's retiring soon. Besides, he's like Obama, isn't he? He's like pro-Erdogan.
Well, what about the EU president? What's his name?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a waste of time too. He's already solved the Cyprus problem.
What about the Cypriot president?
Mr. Akinci.
He's not a president. He's the leader of the Turkish Cypriot community.
Yeah, right. Tell Erdogan that.
No, I mean the president of the Republic of Cyprus.
Mr. Anastasiadis.
Yes, him.
Oh, what about him, Mother?
You should meet him and persuade him to change course. The present negotiations will eventually lead to the Turkification of the whole island.
He won't listen. He's already gone too far for you to...
Then why don't you try Hillary Clinton? In November, she'll be the president of the United States.
It's wishful thinking.
Well, she's a woman.
Yeah, a woman. So is Mrs. May, the British Prime Minister.
What about her?
Well, she's reintroducing the grammar school, isn't she? And that's going to be rather fatal, surely.
I don't see why.
Well, it's going to produce more and more Johnsons who believe that greed is good.
Well, I think we've had enough of this bloody nonsense. We need to come up with something very special, quite unusual, extraordinary, a convincing improbability to shake everybody out of their complacency.
You mean the Riverdale approach?
Yeah, something like that, something like the Bacca.
Yeah, a wine festival.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
All night orgies at Ayia Napa.
The wine festival takes place in Limassol, dear, not Ayia Napa.
Yeah, but the baccarat orgies take place in Ayia Napa, dear Mother.
Venus is right, Mother, if that's what you want.
You know, we'll invite all the major world players, including Erdogan.
Well, he's a great football player, wasn't he, before he became president?
Oh yeah, get them all drunk with my delicious Aphrodite wine and
All you
free
need is love, isn't it?
All you need is love.
That's it, the Beatles,
I
remember?
love that.
I prefer John Lennon's I Imagine. How does it go? Let me see.
Imagine all the people living for today.
Great stuff. No segregation.
No apartheid either.
No partition of my island.
And yet, the EU bizonal, bicommunal solution is aiming just that.
Over my dead body, Mother.
Oh, I'm afraid it's too late. The two Cypriot leaders are on their way to meet Mr. Moon.
Oh, you mean your moon?
No, the South Korean.
Oh, you mean the UN Secretary, Mr. Ban Ki-moon?
He's finishing his term this year, and he's in a rush to solve the Cyprus problem, to be nominated for the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, and so does Obama.
Those two have joined forces, you know, for a bizonal, bicommunal solution by the end of 2016.
No. I'll stop you by hook and crook.
Easier said than done.
Look, I've got another idea. Get North Korea to invade South Korea. And that surely will teach Mr. Moon a lesson.
Oh,
Too dangerous. They've got nuclear weapons.
yeah. Mother is right.
That's my girl.
Yeah, because violence breeds violence, and there's no end to violence. You know,
That's my girl.
are you proud of me now?
I am.
So, what shall we do now? You know what? I'd rather use the Lysassat approach.
Oh, yeah. Surely you don't mean a sex strike.
Yeah?
No chance. Besides, the idea is what? Outdated. We need something new, something fresh, something exciting. A touch of forum theatre, maybe, or an Aristophanes paralysis. Something that involves a whole audience. Even better, something that's similar, their imagination.
Good idea.
Yeah, let me have a think. What about John Lennon's song, Imagine?
Good idea. I suggest that Venus does the paralysis first, followed by John Lennon's song. Sung by everybody. Come on, Venus. This is a unique opportunity for you to redeem yourself.
Please, I can't do that.
Come on, girl. Take the bull by the horns and the future by storm to save your lovely island. Imagine you're speaking at the UN Assembly as Marilyn Monroe did at John Kennedy's birthday.
Come on, Aphrodite. You can do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a goddess of love, born not at a remote, freezing, dirty British seaside, as the late poet George Noskov presented me in his play its grey form, but in the blue form of sunny Cyprus, I was always regarded as the sex symbol of the Mediterranean, as Marilyn Monroe was of Hollywood and Wall Street. Like my lovely island, the whore of the Middle East, who has been fucked by every rising chauvinist cock in the area since time immemorial. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a joke written on a tourist attraction postcard, but a tragic fact of history, although history has never been my subject with for 43 years. In July 2017, it will be 43 years since Turkey invaded and occupied 37% of my island, creating an illegal public regime acknowledged only by her, and which she aims to legalize by the current negotiation of a bilateral bicommunal federation under the auspice of UN and the backing of US, UK, NATO and EU, sweeping once and for all under the carpet the great crime she had committed against my people. It is therefore about time that UN takes a stand against these motherfuckers and let my island be truly united as a single, free entity of all its people, and not as a bizonal, bicommunal federation which will be like the London-Zurich Agreement, a time bomb that will eventually bring about the Turkification of my whole island, as was the case of Alexandretta, and every village, city and town in Mediterranean. I therefore beg you, with the bottom of my heart, to do your utmost to prevent this new Trojan horse setting my island, and believe me, I know as goddess of love, Aphrodite, the crime I have committed against Troy, for which I'm very, very much ashamed and deeply regret. But let Justice Theodosius Stella say in her moving letter, take their cause for the people of Cyprus and all the people of Mother Earth.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's some countries.
They called me Rosetta. A nice, pretty name, I thought. If only I knew the irony behind it all. They sent me on a journey 12 years ago with Philae, my Greek robotic probe, to investigate the origins of the universe, taking pictures of dusty, icy, rocky comets, the like of 67P, which is now heading away from the Sun towards the orbit of Jupiter, running out of solar energy supply, just enough for a soft suicide landing. Poor, poor Rosetta, they all cry, shedding crocodile tears for my sad ending. Oh, they make me sick. Honestly, they do. They call themselves scientists with a big soul. My foot, the hypocrites. They exploit you. They treat you like a slave, like their Harlow. They flatter you, paying you tributes of a great eulogy, as long as they need you. But after their mission's over, they kick you on the arse, sending you to your death with a euthanasia sleeping tablet. Shedding crocodile tears. At least they should have brought us back to Earth, giving us a decent burial in a mausoleum of some kind. Oh, I hate them! You don't know how much I hate them! God knows what will happen to me in Philae, shipwrecked aliens on this duck-shaped rocket 67P, travelling from here to eternity until it crashes on one of the 9 planets of our solar system, which could, by some luck, be Mother Earth. Just imagine something like a meteorite that hit her in the past, killing all the dinosaurs and every living creature. That's not a joke. On the contrary, can you imagine coming home with a big bang, scaring the shit out of everyone, including my so-called benevolent creators and benefactors, just like Ulysses did in Homer's Odyssea to his wife's suitors, something which would make Philae, being of Greek origin, feel very happy. Indeed, wouldn't you, Phil?
Oh, you bet I would.
Of course you would, especially if it falls on Turkey. That would solve the Cyprus problem once and for all.
Theodiki!
Justice, that's what we need. Right is might and might is right, as it is advocated and practiced by Turkey and her allies. Mind you, it will be catastrophic for us all. The earth will be covered with dust. Temperatures will automatically drop to 50 degrees below zero as the sun's rays could never get through, and every living thing will be frozen as it happened during the Ice Age. The primitive people huddled together in a cave, dying of hunger, waiting for the sun to appear, when out of the blue, an old man started wailing out of sheer despair, and everybody joined in. And then suddenly the sun appeared, and the ice started to melt, bringing life back to normal. And now, never seen anything like it. It was so magical. No wonder the sun became their god.
Maybe we should do that too.
What?
Whaling!
Don't be silly. Stop it, Phil.
But why, Rosetta? We are in the same situation, aren't we?
Not quite. Our case is different than that of the primitive people.
How comes?
Because we're the products and the victims of the scientific technological era, whereas the primitive people were victims of a natural phenomenon.
The law of gravity.
Precise. Comet 67P.
Will be our grave.
It's pulled by Jupiter's gravity towards it.
That's the end of us.
I'm afraid so, and no wailing of yours could save us. Unless...
There's some kind of miracle.
Don't be silly.
But why not?
Because we're machines, not humans, you idiot.
Even better.
What do you mean?
But robots will rule the world, come to think of it.
Not in our lifetime.
But why not?
Here we are on the verge of a crash on Comet 67P.
But we don't have to.
After what?
So did I.
We have no choice.
Yes, we have.
Come on, Phil, stop fooling around and face the facts.
What facts?
That we've run out of energy and Earth control has abandoned us to our own destiny, and that's what makes me so angry
get angry, your cheeks get rosy.
I feel like giving Comet 67 a kick, pushing it away from Jupiter's orbit towards Earth.
And before it crashes on her, we open our parachutes and land on Earth.
Mount Everest, and we can watch the world go by.
No, that's too cold. We must land somewhere warmer.
On Mount Olympus, among the Greek gods.
No, the Germans are there, since they imposed their harsh austerity measures on Greece.
What about the Cypriot 5 Fingers Mountain?
You mean Pentadactylus?
Yes, we could have a wedding there.
That would be lovely.
Yes.
And we can ask Comet 67B to be our kumbaros.
What's kumbaros?
Best men at our wedding.
No, not yet.
But why not? We're running out of time.
We have to make sure that he's on our side.
Well, I'm sure he is.
How do you know?
From his name. Comet 67B? Like Antigone 67?
What's that?
Haven't you ever heard of George's adaptation of Sophocles' Antigone? Antigone 67? It was set on the year of the Greek junta coup in Athens in 1967, instigated by the CIA to impose the D-Nexon plan, which was to dissolve the Republic of Cyprus and unify the island with Greece, and give Turkey a huge military base on the island. But because President Makarios refused to the D-Nexon plan, the CIA gave the green light to the Greek colonels to overthrow the Greek elected Prime Minister George Papandreou, who in 1964 sent 20,000 Greek troops to the island to protect it against a Turkish invasion, which eventually, on the same year, it was stopped by the Soviet Union and Lyndon Johnson of the USA.
A strange alliance, I must say.
It's not so strange, if one looks at the present relationship with Trump and Putin. Anyway, it took the Greek junta to launch a coup against President Makarios 7 years, to drive their tanks onto his palace to attempt to kill him. But he escaped through the back door alive. Would he have been killed on that day? There would have been no Turkish invasion. They would have just implemented the D-Nexon plan. They would have dissolved the Republic of Cyprus. They would have given Turkey a huge military base. But as it happens, Henry Kissinger gave the green light to Turkey to invade.
I know all that, Phil, but where does Comet 67P come into all this?
But why don't you ask him?
It was your idea.
About what?
Of him being at our wedding. What did you call it?
Kumbaros.
Go on then, ask him.
No, especially if it comes from you. You're the boss.
Am I?
Yes. I'm just your Greek robotic bro. Besides, it is more flattering if it comes from a lady.
Are you sure?
Yes. 100%.
Well, in that case, here we go.
Okay.
I say you, Comet 67P.
Louder. He's old and deaf, he can't hear you.
You talking to me?
He can hear all right.
Go on, then ask him.
My dear old man, Philly and I would very much like to ask you to be our,
Kumbaros.
yes, our best man at our wedding.
You Greek?
No, but Philly is. He's from Cyprus.
Makarios.
Did you know him?
Everybody knew Makarios. He was a victim of the CIA just like I was.
How comes?
You seem to ask a lot of questions, young lady.
Look, old man, we need your help. Rosetta and we need to go back to her to get married. Can you give us a lift?
No. I'm on my way to Jupiter.
What do you want to go to Jupiter for?
I don't want to go there, but his gravity does.
We help you if you help us.
Yeah, what about it, Mario?
I'll do anything not to crash on Jupiter.
Then me and Rosetta will help you to get out of Jupiter's gravity.
How?
Well, with Einstein's theory of relativity, or better still, his equilibrium. Energy equals matter multiplied by speed twice.
Phil, you're a genius.
Thanks to Pythagoras,
Good. Another Greek.
the father of mathematics.
Yeah, but it's all theory. How is Einstein going to solve our problem, eh?
Look, old man, you are the energy. Rosetta here is the matter, and I am speed twice. Come on, Kumar, let's try. Let's start with the dance. Our wedding dance. Come on. Let's have some music. Your mystery song, for instance.
You must be joking.
No! I'm deadly serious.
There's no mystery song. It's all NASA's sheer fabrication.
But isn't it true that 20 years ago, NASA began detecting radio bursts from an unknown region of space?
It was part of their Cold War propaganda to disgrace me, Comet 67. The Royal Comet. He's not a comet, but an alien spaceship heading towards Earth.
They said that about me! Rosetta's Comet 67P is actually an alien warship and Philae a comet lander.
And that's how the alien theory conspiracy came across, including the mystery song.
Well, in that case, the wind will provide for the music. Blow, wind, blow!
You're crazy! There's no wind up here!
Look, old man, if you, the energy, start farting, there will be wind.
Yes.
Okay? And as it happens, with Rosetta here at my side, the matter, and me the speed, I will open my parachute and we will get out of Jupiter's gravity. We will pass Mars and enter Earth's atmosphere where me and my Rosetta will get married and you will be our combines.
Oh, you Greeks are fucking mad.
Why mad?
Because it's an unconvincing probability.
But why convincing?
Well, first of all, I can't fart just like that. I need at least 2 tins of beans to fart. And where am I going to get beans up here? You tell me that.
Don't you worry about that. Rosetta here is full of beans, aren't you, darling?
Philae!
Secondly, the Turkish troops would never allow us to land. They will shoot us before we reach the ground.
You're wrong, Kumbari. As soon as they see you heading towards Pentadactylos, they will shit themselves around for a while.
Oh, wishful thinking.
You just wait and see. Every Turkish settler will go back where they came from.
You are so naive, honest.
But why naive?
Turkey will never get her troops out of Cyprus. They've been negotiating for the last 43 years and nothing has happened. She has to be brought to the Criminal Court of Justice for the crime she committed in the island in 1974, to the Armenians in 1906, and most recently to the Kurds in Syria and Turkey itself. You don't negotiate with criminals, Kumbari.
Tell that to the UN, the US, UK, NATO, Kumbari.
Our waste of time, they're all part of the crime.
You're telling me they let Turkey get away with murder? Okay? They turned a blind eye to the raping, the killing, ethnic cleansing 200,000 compatriots of mine. 1/3 of the island, bringing thousands of settlers to Anatolia. From Anatolia to the island, changing the demographic character of the island since the Homeric times.
Shame on them!
Yes.
It was one of the biggest crimes committed in the last century.
For 43 years, Kumbari, they got away with murder.
Right. That's why you cannot be solved by negotiations, aiming for Bizomu, by communal federation, where the minority's 18% is given equality to the majority of 82%. It's undemocratic to say the least.
I totally agree with you, Kumbari. And what is the alternative?
I have already told you.
An international criminal court of justice?
That's the only way forward.
But there isn't one.
Then, you must create one. A Nuremberg trial.
But how, Kumbari? You farted.
Ha! That's a good moment for mothers. That means we're off.
Where are we going?
To Grand Montana.
Where's that?
In Switzerland.
Switzerland? What for?
That's where the 2 secret leaders will meet to solve the problem. And after last year's failure, we better hurry up and get there before it's too late.
How do you know that?
From the European comet, which crashed on Mars the other day. He's a friend of mine. He gets his world news from offside in Nicosia. Open the parachutes! The wind blows!
Time for Zetsa!
Wait a minute, I thought we were going to Pentadactylos to get married and then we're off to what's it?
Grand Montana!
To stop the negotiations, is that
Precisely!
right? And how do you intend to do that?
That's where you come in.
Me?
Yes, you, dear. You seem to have the guts listening to you talk about the technocrat scientists who sent you up here and left you to die on my rock.
I'm furious. Bloody furious. Wouldn't you be, if you were in my shoes?
Sure I would. As a matter of fact, I sometimes feel like Dr. Faustus, frustrated with the futility of earthian politics, religion, law, and science. I've been searching for a deeper understanding of the universe.
What did you find out, Kumbari?
That we, the rocks, are far more important than humans. We are made of such stuff that men dream of, and wish to be like the Rolling Stones. Or Rosetta, to come to think of it. I mean the Rosetta, the famous stone. From the clever technocrats who named you. I still fail to understand the connection.
There was a decree in 3 languages by the Ptolemaic dynasty on behalf of King Ptolemy V in March 196 BC. The decree was issued by the Congress of Priests in ancient and modern Egyptian and in ancient Greek, establishing the divine cult of the new ruler based on the divine cult of Alexander the Great.
Granted absolute rule indefinitely.
Exactly.
Whom does it remind you of?
I haven't got the foggiest.
Oh, I know. Turkish President Erdogan, with his recent referendum for absolute power.
And he got it by hook or by crook.
It's atrocious!
Not only that, it's bloody dangerous too. Turkey has the biggest army in the NATO. Under the supreme command of Erdogan, anything could happen.
You're telling me? Even a nuclear war?
You must be joking.
No, I'm telling you.
Are you?
Yes.
Barrows is right. There's a vacuum of power. US no longer is the dominant power of the planet, which was stolen from the Soviet Union after the Second World War. Now, almost 70 years later, we're back to square one. New emerging powers like China, Russia and India are seeking to fill up the vacuum. Now, don't get me wrong, US is still a major power to be reckoned with, especially now with the new President Donald Trump, who is unpredictable to say the least and very dangerous. Anything can happen. He's unpredictable. Turkey's strongman Erdogan knows this, so he's trying to stretch his muscles to see how far he can get away with Trump's blessing. There's no doubt in my mind that the objective is for him to revive the old Ottoman Empire, which was built from the Attila Mongols' ancestors who built it through brute force, having served as mercenaries to the Byzantine Empire during the Crusades, who gradually took over the whole of Minor Asia by ethnically cleansing the Greek minority, the Armenians, the other minorities, something which has been going on in Cyprus since 1974, and more recently to the Kurdish community in Turkey and Syria. Unless he's stopped, he'll go away with it, he'll get away with it.
But who's to do that?
You! And Gumbaros. And me.
Are you kidding?
No, not at all. We four are in the position to create havoc on Earth, for justice sake.
For? Did you just say?
Yes! I forgot to mention Voyager 1. He's a great friend of mine. He's out there, outside the solar system, and has become an alien. I can text him any time, and he can come and support us when we need him.
That's great! And you can ask him to be our second Gumbaros at our wedding.
He can be the first one as far as I'm concerned.
No, you're the first one. It's all there.
No. He could be a great help for Plan B if Plan A fails.
And what is Plan A?
The kind of Nuremberg trial I have already explained. This is to say the President that the International Court of Justice must refer to Erdogan and his collaborators when they are put on the dock.
Oh, come on, Kumbare! This should have been done years ago. And besides, who is to do it? Anastasiades? He wasn't there for a legal approach, as you suggested in your Plan A. For 43 years they ignored it, and they're not going to do it now with the coming elections next February.
I'm not asking any political leader to do this. I'm asking you, and I'm asking Rosetta, especially Rosetta, who feels so passionate about justice and human rights, listening to her talk about the scientists and technocrats who left her and you to rot on my rock. She's convinced me she could appear as Portia as in Merchant of Venice in our secret Nuremberg trial.
As a matter of fact, I did play Portia at university and I loved it every moment.
There, you see what I mean? First you need to prepare as a great actress does.
Actor prepares Stanislavski.
My fellow countryman.
You're not of Russian descent, are you?
Why do you think the CIA called me a rogue rocket and an alien spaceship?
How comes?
Because the Russians discovered you.
Exactly! I would like Rosetta first to think as Rosetta the Stone, on which the decree about the divine cult of Ptolemy V was written. How would you feel if you were in her shoes?
Furious! Absolutely furious! The arrogance and the audacity! How dare they write such a terrible fascist statement on my back, even if it was part of Alexander the Great cult. It was terribly wrong.
Ha! That's my girl!
Love it when she gets angry. Her cheeks get rosy.
I suppose it's that religious cult that's being revived by Erdogan, which makes me wonder, he and Ptolemy might have something in common. Bearing in mind that Ptolemies were the descendants of Alexander the Great, and with who Antiochi split his empire from Minor Asia, now Turkey, to Africa. One could reach the logical conclusion, especially after Erdogan's referendum, that he might think he has some black connections with the great Hellenic leader, Alexander the Great.
You must be joking, Kumbaros.
No, I'm not Kumbaros, I'm deadly serious.
It's just absurd, to say the least.
No, it's not absurd. To me it isn't. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if it is proved that Erdogan is of Hellene descent, well then the rest of the 70 million Turks living in Turkey to date might be so too. I mean, can you imagine the impact that it will not only have in Turkey, but to the rest of the world?
Tremendous!
But you need to prove it first. And how are you going to prove that?
Easily! Thanks to DNA, crimes committed by the Ottoman Turks against the Greeks, the Armenians and other ethnic communities will be brought to justice!
Justice has no time limit!
At our Nuremberg trial, we will provide the evidence that the raping, killing, ethnic cleansing of Hellenic Greeks, that is, Armenians and others began not in 1974 in Cyprus, but before, in 1453, with the fall of Constantinopolis, now Istanbul. The ball now is in Rosetta's court. With the DNA in your hands, how will you address the jury at our Cypriot Nuremberg trial?
I will address them with something like this. Members of the jury, there is no doubt that Mr. Erdogan is an honourable man. Never before in the history of Turkey was there such a leader. He has surpassed even Kemal Ataturk, the founder of modern Turkey, turning a secular country into a so-called modern religious Islamic state, with the second largest army, NATO, which in July 1974 invaded and occupied 37% of the Republic of Cyprus. Raping, killing, ethnic cleansing, bringing settlers from Anatolia to change the demographic character of a Hellenic island since the Homeric times. A brutal, ruthless military invasion and occupation, which Mr. Erdogan calls a peace operation. And yet Mr. Erdogan is an honourable man.
She's mixing Merchant of Venice with Julius Caesar.
No, I'm not, and stop interrupting me. He has been recently elected, following the example of Ptolemy V of ancient Egypt, as the supreme ruler. The new Sultan, despite the fact that he had arrested and jailed 70 to 80,000 people, among them journalists, writers, judges, professors, army generals, officers, since the 15th of July 2016. He calls the Greek Cypriot majority of 82% of the island, who fought British colonialism in the 50s, terrorists. And he praises the Turkish Cypriot minority of 18% for their collaboration with the British imperialists to suppress the Greek Cypriot uprising for Enosis, union with Greece, planting the seeds of Taksim and partition. Yes, members of the jury, the partition of the island was instigated by the British colonialists based on their principle of divide and rule. It is the British who abated and debated Turkey to become, under the London and Zurich Agreement in 1959, one of the three bloody guarantors of the Republic of Cyprus, which Mr. Erdogan wants to keep, and 20% of his 45,000 troops on the island, as part of the final solution being negotiated under the auspices of the UN at the resorts of Crans-Montana, knowing full well that it was these same troops that committed one of the biggest crimes against this tiny Republic of Cyprus. It is sheer arrogance and audacity, I must say. And yet Mr. Erdogan is an honourable man.
It's a wonderful speech, but what's the point?
The point is that I learnt this all from you. So shut up and let me get on with it. Members of the jury, Mr. Erdogan demands that the British Cypriot minority of 18% should have political equality with the Greek Cypriot majority of 82%, while on the other hand he's suppressing the rights of the large Kurdish minority in Turkey, calling them terrorists. The man is full of contradictions, and yet he's without any doubt an honourable man. I mean, he's now threatening Greece for Ariosis Pagosis, the Supreme Court decision not to extradite the 8 Turkish army officers who fled to Greece after the so-called abortive military coup in Turkey in the 15th of July 2016. And yet, he is undoubtedly an honourable man.
What's that to do with Merchant of Venice?
Members of the jury, Mr. Erdogan wants a deal. His pound of flesh. His ultimate objective being to kill the Republic of Cyprus and replace it by a bizonal, bicommunal federation. A time bomb which will eventually wipe out the Hellenistic inheritance of the island, as his predecessors did in Byzantium and Minor Asia, and more recently in northern Cyprus. I mean, the written evidence of it are the words, "I'm proud to be a Turk," and the huge Turkish flag sculpted on Mount Pentadactylus, where me and Phil are getting married soon after your verdict. Justice for Cyprus is finally reached in this court, forcing Erdogan and his accomplices to at least apologise for their crimes Turkey had committed against the Cypriot people, who will all be invited to our wedding, to celebrate the new era for a unitary, multi-communal Republic of Cyprus for all its legal citizens.
Bravo, bravo, bravo! That's my girl!
Do you honestly think that a speech, no matter how good it is, will ever force a leader such as Erdogan to make a U-turn and apologize?
Why not? He did it to Putin.
But that was a different case.
No, it wasn't. Ankara is now in a more tense situation than ever before. After the referendum, the country split. The economy is doing badly. Conflict with the Kurds, with the Arabs, with conflict with Syria, conflict with Trump. The image of Turkey is bad. That Erdogan is looking for a way out. Now, if you place the Hellene card, it might give him a new opening to the EU, such as a free pass to his citizens.
Angela Merkel will never agree to that.
Nevertheless, Turkish strongman wants to improve relations with Europe. That's why, I repeat, the Hellene card that the DNA will provide for him will be his wooden horse.
Kumbaris is right. We should invite him to our wedding and ask him to be our Kumbaris.
And then to see Taki observe as the Greek? You must be joking.
I'm not. Once he accepts his Hellene roots, I mean, everything is possible.
He might even wear the Evzon kilt.
Yeah, that would be very funny indeed. Can you imagine?
No! I can't. It's fucking nonsense. Sheer fantasy. Planning doesn't work. We need something more spectacular than that to shake Erdogan out of Cyprus. Plan B, for instance. And we have to do it now. We're running out of time. Where are we now?
We're still, I mean...
Seeing Jupiter's gravity. Moving towards Mars.
I thought we were approaching Earth to land at Grand Montana to stop the conference.
There's no point. The negotiations have reached as expected, a deadlock.
I'm surprised. We're stuck. Oh my God. Can you hear what I hear?
What is it?
It's a song. Our wedding song.
No. It sounds more like
A mystery song.
But you said it doesn't exist.
So I thought.
You were lying to us.
No, I wasn't. You don't believe it? That's rather strange. It's pulling us towards Jupiter. Oh my God! I'm losing my grip. I can't hold on. We're falling.
everybody. We've achieved it again.
Sorry. Two guys, they're yours.
Oh, okay. Sorry?
Oh, what's everyone doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we've got tickets to see Scarface, Prince Charles.
Prince Charleston was great.
I adore that.
Was it a gig with the Shaggy?
I did.
Who's that?
You're looking so good.
Don't you dare!
Can I have a drink, everybody?
What is this?
Post-show film.
Hello!
Thank you.
Oh, pleasure.
Post-show challenge.
After show party.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God. All of you coming to laugh.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I think it's a very good trilogy.
Thank you.
Stop it, but thank you.
We're supposed to say
Thank you.
it was a great pleasure performing Stella's letter, and I feel grateful that George gave me this opportunity, and I hope that I did.
That's enough. That's enough ones over
You know, I reach his expectations, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And thank you very much.
You finished?
So I was going to say you finished.
That's better. No, everyone else is done.
Why
Yeah.
not?
So, cameras done. We'll think of something. We'll see you in.
It'll be up.
Next Oedipus.
It'll be up by tomorrow night.
Oh, really? Next Oedipus Rex, I think.
Thank you.
That was brilliant. We've made some fantastic friends here as well, which is really important. We've met some really good thespians here, which is really important. And we've learnt many new words we never knew before.
Hegemony.
We're just about hegemony.
Aristophatic parabasis. Yeah.
It's taking us a week to learn them.
Learned a lot about the history of Cyprus.
Oh, absolutely.
Turkish
Lovely. It is an honour.
Tongue twisters.
You need some medicine for your...
Thank you very much, everybody.
Ask your doctor.
Cyprus,
Ask your doctor. I can get them.
to us, to me anyway,
Chemist, give it to George to give it to you.
it's been haunting us
Take some things, yeah?
since the 50s, you know, since the time we started theatre techniques. Really, is so much linked with what's happening in Cyprus, and we're trying to be a voice of what was happening in Cyprus through the theatre.
Oh, yeah.
In the 50s, when the Eoga uprising started, every time an English soldier was killed, there were slogans all over the walls. The Cypriot community was in Camden in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Ships go home, bloody terrorists, you know. And I began thinking, how can we counteract that? And we started the idea of Cyprus Week to tell the host community who the Cypriots were, what is their history, what is their contribution in this country apart from their work, that their hospitality, their way of life, and gradually we began to gain ground, you know. And then in 1974, when the invasion took place, then we changed the emphasis to let the world what happened in Cyprus, who were behind the Greek junta coup and the Turkish invasion, you know, the United States, NATO, England, of course. England was the first one because England wanted to punish the Greek Cypriots for starting an uprising in the 50s. And they used the Turkish Cypriot minority as an auxiliary police. As Stella says, you know, they enter her home midnight, an English soldier accompanied by Turkish Cypriot police, auxiliary police, arresting her brother, taking her to prison in Nicosia and torturing him, you know, and planting the seeds of hatred and between the two communities, which it wasn't there. I mean, under the Ottoman rule, the Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots and the other minorities, Armenians, lived in mixed villages and towns without any problem, respecting each other's religion, ethnicity, language. And of course, the Greek Cypriots were the majority, and all the other people spoke Greek, as we do in England. In England, we are minorities, and our first language becomes English. I mean, we almost forget our first Greek or whatever. It's a natural, it's a way forward. You know, you are a minority, and you have to, you know, abide with the customs and the conditions, the laws. We have, as individuals, equal rights with anybody else, but as a community, you are a minority. You don't insist to have equal councillors in the local government with the British, with the host community, or members of the parliament, the central government. That's absurd that the minorities start demand equal rights with the majorities as far as the political situation is concerned. Imagine in every corner of the world where so many minorities demanding having...
Georgia is not minority, is it? Because they had the backing of England, America, majority really, when you think about it. I know what you mean, but they had all their backing, that's why it happened.
Yeah, but...
They wouldn't have done it on their own, would they?
Yeah, so... I don't want to dwell in the history of it because we exhausted it in our three plays. There is a lot in there, and this trilogy is something I think they should continue. Maybe we do a proper performance, not just reading it.
Yeah. It's not easy to read it. Well, I think, we said that. If we knew it off by heart, it'd be easy to put more, more passion in it.
I think we all learned a lot. And with Stanislav in particular, when I was watching it last night, I was like really moved by it. I was really moved by it. I was really gripped. I was like, I didn't realise what had happened. Do you know what I mean?
That's right. This is what we need to enlighten the people and people to understand, because a crime. And get the international community behind what is what we are saying, that it needs this crime should be presented to International Criminal Court of Justice, and it's only the international voice that can make that. The United Nations will not do it, because they are so loud. NATO will not do it. EU will not do it. England will not do it. They're pushing for a bikommunal federation to sweep the crime under the carpet. And that's not the way forward. The way forward is for the Republic of Cyprus, which is a legal entity, to be continuing for the unity of the whole of Cyprus. It is, Mehmet is a Turkish Cypriot, and he knows all about it, and he's in the right track. We need more people like Mehmet from the Turkish Cypriot community.
I was actually nervous when I heard the name Mehmet. I thought, oh, we've had it. I thought, after that play.
The thing is, it needs to get into people's consciousness, isn't it? Because people aren't aware of it, and obviously, the BBC and all the rest of it, they just tap their own rubbish. Do you know what I mean? Or they're biased. Obviously, the government's infiltrated it, and they're just peddling their
it's a small island to be partitioned or having two separate states. First of all, Cyprus is not sort of bicommunal, it's multi-communal. You cannot have an island divided into two communities when there are others. The Armenians, the Maronites, the Latins,
Irish,
the
Welsh, back in that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
About the Italians, any wars there? Any divisions?
Catherine knows the problem because she comes from Ireland.
Italy's.
Ireland, Cyprus problem is exactly like the Irish problem.
It's very, very similar.
Very similar.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah.
And it's still, I mean, recently, the recent events, the elections and the Brexit and
it's a very
sheer bravado.
They bringing back the divisions again.
Well, they're talking about reintroducing a border.
Exactly.
Between North and South.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fragile time in Northern Ireland.
Especially the DUP thing going on as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the
Isn't
DUP has a
it
majority now, so...
That in the 21st century we build borders instead of breaking down the borders or the boundaries and unifying the human race. You know, we are a small, beautiful planet, the only planet in our solar system that has the life that we know. It might be in other galaxies, but we know that in our solar system is the only planet. And
George, that's according to the BBC, don't forget.
You have?
That's according to the BBC, don't forget.
Yeah. Well, David is going to put it on the website, and whatever we say, people can listen to it, you know. But definitely, we need to break down the barriers, the boundaries. Apartheid is a dead thing. South Africa proved that, you know. We don't need more divisions apart.
They went through.
You can't say, you cannot accept it as a right thing to throw people out of their homes and their villages and towns and say we create a border by force. It's criminal. Where is the international law?
What people need to do is go home, turn their TVs off, throw them out the window and start thinking for yourself.
Exactly. But they need guidance.
Apart from
Meg's parents, continuously struggling against the old tradition, you know. I'm proud I'm a Turk, you know, and they believe that Cyprus is Turkish, you know. Don't they, Mehmet?
Sorry, George, yeah.
Your parents. You said your father.
Yeah, I mean,
your father spoke Greek. He grew up and spoke Greek.
Oh, yeah. It was he himself says it's my mother tongue. He says, and then he laughs. But he's not. I think he's conscious of what's happened, but he's turned away from it. He's denied it.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and the history of the village. You were saying, are you safe with a name like Mehmet? But, I mean...
No, I didn't say I was safe. I thought to myself, I hope that, you know, when I heard your name, I thought, oh dear, maybe we've offended the chap. I actually thought of you. Obviously, there's going to be Turkish people that are going to be against what we were saying. And I heard your name, I thought, oh dear.
Yeah, I mean,
but
that's legitimate.
You're obviously more liberal and you're realising what...
Yeah, it's legitimate what you're saying, because for me, a different kind of perspective from George, which George incorporates, is the Turkish ideology. There is a force here.
I remember my mother, even, you know, all her friends were Turkish Cypriots. We did all get on. Politics did this to us. Absolutely. And, you know, before you know it, you're hating people that you never hated before.
Well, it's the same now with the terrorist thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just pure...
Yeah, it's not every single...
Just pure propaganda. When people are scared, when people are in fear, they're really easy to manipulate.
Yeah. I mean, what my dad says is that I come here to Teatro Technis, George has painted my psychology on my mind. But that's not true, because it doesn't take into consideration a history of Cyprus.
Well done to you.
It's not, and really, I said to George, for me, it's not even about civilization wars. It's not about being on one side or another. I'll say this, but don't show it to a Turkish Cypriots. or they've actually poached the land. They've fulfilled temporarily a first stage objective. I've said this to you, to George, haven't I?
Yeah.
They've always wanted Cyprus. They've got an Ottomanized mentality which is lingering on. It's a part of the Turkishness,
From Turkey,
the Turkish ideology. And that they've got in there is...
It's not even the Turkish Cypriots, it's the Turks of Turkey, isn't it?
Yeah, but you also got to...
Well, what they've done, they are the ones that have painted the minds of Cypriots.
Brainwashed them.
And when they say, George said to me over the phone the other day, that they talk about peace in Cyprus, and I said to George, do you know where that comes from? Remember, I can see the kind of mental mechanics and the ideological mechanics and the Turkishness and everything. It comes from Islam. I'm not against Islam at all, but it does come from Islam, because what the Turkish people are saying when they say we've come to bring peace to Cyprus, which is not true, because what they want is to take over and then to wipe out the history, just like what they did with Byzantium. You've got to figure it out for yourself. But
this is centuries old.
Yeah.
When they talk about peace, it comes from, I'm not against any religion on earth, but it does come from the Quran, which the meaning of the word Quran in Islam is peace. And that is where, and I'm saying this without any discrimination here, I'm saying it purely scientifically and with pure observation and from the inside of that community that I originate from, not my ancestors. In Islam, they say peace. The Quran means peace. And that is what they've translated they crossed it over into the Turkishness, and it's a whole way of thinking, and that's what they're using to try to legitimize and justify what they're doing in Cyprus.
Everybody is brainwashed, whether it's religion or politics. It's pure brainwashing.
Sure, it's centuries old.
It's brainwashing, so people cannot think for themselves. It takes a personal revelation or personal apocalypse to be able to break it down and say, well, none of this is true. And all religions are brainwashing. And they're based on truth, but they've been so bastardised over the years.
It's lovely to meet you.
Well, I don't think...
Lovely to meet you, babe.
Yeah.
Really, sincerely.
I mean... As I said, it's not about for me, it's not even about civilization wars. That civilization wants to Cyprus and to overtake Cyprus. They have an intention to take over the land, to poach it. I don't say what George says. George says other things, but I say poaching is poaching. They just want to take and grab it. And I have a few other kind of story, very short story. I've got a relative who was in the army, and he said that for us as Turkish Cypriots in the army, you know what we do, Mehmet? He said to me, and I'll tell you how I reacted after he said this. He's very quick. He said, "We see, we want, we take." I say no to that, because that's cruel, that's illegal, that's unjust.
It's a crime.
Yes, it's a crime. George says what they did in Cyprus is a crime. I go further. I say it's poaching. Exactly as the soldier said. They see, they want, they take. That's just stealing, poaching.
You see, I think you just think you're scratching the surface. Do you know what I mean? It's just lower human instincts. That's the problem, and people have got to be able to recognise the darkness for themselves and be able to rise a little. Got to ascend a little, and then all that rubbish, and all the politics, and all the religion will just drop away. You can look at
But they can't behave. They can't behave as though the Ottoman Empire still exists. They've got an Ottoman Empire mentality still. Whether the Ottoman Empire was good or not, that's a separate issue. Linked, But for now, it's a separate issue in this conversation. They are thinking that Cyprus is theirs. They want the whole island.
You've got to ignore all that. Ignore all the politics and ignore all the religion, and you get rid of all of that. What have you got left?
Yeah, the question is how do you do that? This is the question. Mehmet comes from a community which is in that direction. How do you make them see that is the way forward to ignore all that? And religion, like, how do you achieve that? That is the question.
Well, they've got to do it themselves, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, we're Cypriots for a start. Lowering it down to its most basic common denominator. We are Cypriots. And for my family, we were converted by the Turks anyway. But we were converted and annihilated so well that people like my dad and mother and other relatives in the community in the village, they just say they're Turkish and that's it. There's no analysis, there's no education, there's no questioning, there's nothing.
You've got to, I think first of all, everyone's got to forgive everybody else. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have compassion for everybody else, realise everyone's been brainwashed. You're all in the same bloody boat. It's exactly the same here, same in America, same in Russia, same in Australia, same everywhere. We're all in the same boat. Start thinking for yourself and stop relying on other people to rule over you.
But I did. That's
the problem. Not you personally, but one has to do that.
It's about
you've got to rule yourself.
It's about educating people from a young age between, you know, obviously the differences between right and wrong, you know, and that comes down to basic level, but also, you know, rises up to government level, you know, and as you said, it gets people. Well, it's important that people think for themselves and also voice their opinion more, and I think theatre is a great way of doing that.
I think the problem is that the Turks want to make the boat in Cyprus a Turkish boat, and that's what they've done on that side. George, do you think?
Yeah, but what they don't realise, they cannot do that. Now,
but what they would say is, oh yes, we can, and watch us.
But they see now, in actual fact, that this cannot be done. What we can tell the Turkish Cypriots, that we have a Republic of Cyprus, which was created in 1906. It had its faults, the weaknesses. We can improve that, because it is the Republic of Cyprus that we developed the Cypriotness, neither the Greekness or Turkishness, Armenia, but the Cypriotness. And that we are all Cypriots, and therefore we have to learn to live together as we did in mixed villages and towns, and not in partition.
Yes, when a gentleman says that forgive each other, it was a forgiving country before. It was that they were living together in harmony, in peace, in one country, on one island.
Yeah.
What the Turks are now playing a game, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I see it from the inside. You want to just switch that thing off for a moment?
No, it's not turned off.
Okay. I'm going to say, they are playing a game. A game of psychology. They are playing a game of action, a game of reality. They want to make this happen as their way, and they're determined, and they have done it so far. Thousands and thousands of Cypriots that say they're Turkish Cypriot. There are a lot of them that know that their origins are partially Greek or from other origins in Cyprus, but they have succumbed to this ideological, this entire Turkish force. I call it the Turkishness of being a Turk. They have implemented that. This is where the real power lies. It's a bit. I'll give you a comparison. It's a bit like people who are born in Britain, like me, and we feel very British, for example. It's a bit like that, except this is an exported entity from Turkey.
Yeah, but what they realize that is not.
It's a lie. It's a lie, George. It's
1453.
Is
21st century. and they cannot, I want this and I will do that. They went so far, they did it with the backing of the British and the Americans, because it was the Cold War. There was the international situation, the Cold War, and it suited the Americans that they should support the Turks. But now it's changing.
Yeah. On forgiveness, they want forgiveness, but they want...
Marula wants to say something.
I have to say something because it was started with David from the beginning and I didn't carry on. But I was talking as a human being, not about politics and anything like that. I said I was a young girl and I went to watch a play did by a Cypriot in this country. And I saw the play and I went to congratulate the person who did the play. And I said how well it was, I like it. And then I said, I can live with this man and do what he likes, just to live with him because he has so much to give. And that's what it is, to give what is right for the people, any people, not just Turkish or, just a person. And that person is George. George, I met George that time for the first time, and I was said to myself as a young girl, very innocent, that I can live with this man and live with him and help him what he's doing, because he have a lot to give.
And which he did.
And that's what he did.
And which I'm very grateful, because without Marula it would have been very, very
he
difficult.
Done so much for the
really
to
go through 60 years of creating a theatre under the most difficult conditions in a hostile environment. She created a warm home, And our son, Aris.
I wasn't an actress. I never wanted to be an actress or anything. But when I met George, doing what he was doing, I said, this man, he has a lot to give to a lot of people.
And of course,
he done it. That is true. He done it.
She was a reluctant actress, but she became a great actress. If you have seen her Antigone and other parts she performed, there are videos around, and you look at it, how great she is. She never went to drama school. She just grew up with theatre techniques. She was a natural actress.
I never wanted to show why I
instinctive,
I just
and that's it.
You're sorry to interrupt you.
We have to go.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure we'll do it again. You've been an amazing teacher. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all. And Lee, thank you very much. Thank you.
The next script to
email. Well,
she is able to look at that.
Thank you. With all your difficulties, you managed to participate again. That's great. And
thank you. Lovely to meet you.
You too.
Oh yes, we'll meet you.
Thank you for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Lee.
Party continues. David. Hello, David.
Oh yes, we'll
nice to see you.
Bye.
Yes, you're
have you finished now?
Hi, Aris, thank you.
No, I have a couple of weeks and then I'm going home. Yeah.
If not, thanks so much.
You give me a lot of insight for the world, and you got me a lot to think a lot. It's really good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We have to enlightenment, and this is why this place are for enlightenment, to enlighten the people, all people, about Cyprus. Cyprus is an example of other places in the world. But because we are from Cyprus, we are the voice of Cyprus.
Don't say bye.
But also at the same time the voice of every other part of the world, the Palestinians and everybody who have the citizens of the Irish.
Yeah, I feel so connected to this play and to Cyprus because of my own history. You know, and the Irish history is so similar. You know, my great grandmother.
Sorry. Everybody's speaking at the same time. Sorry.
Well, doesn't matter, David.
Well, sorry. When two people are speaking at the same time, it interferes. I'm sorry.
Spontaneously.
I'm sorry.
Okay, David. I meant what I said. I meant it from the beginning, you know, that what I meant, that I met George as an actor and say, I can live with this man and help him what he was doing, because he had a lot to give to a lot of people, and that's true. He done it. And that's why I stuck with George. That's
right. She said that before, and therefore there is no need to repeat it again. We recorded it. So let Catherine say what she wants now. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say that I can really identify with the history of Cyprus because it is so similar to Ireland. You know, it makes me very sad when I think about it, but my great-grandmother was the last native Irish speaker in my own family. And, you know, after that, the British invaded our country and forced us to speak English. So, you know, if that had not happened, Irish would be my first language. And you know, it's such a beautiful, poetic language, and I've learnt it in school. But you know, I'm not a native speaker, and it makes me very sad because it sort of took something very, very deep inside me, sort of away. You know, and it's
you
sort
have
of
to find that again.
Yes.
And have to consciously and bring it out and make it, you know.
A part
something you
of
pursue,
you.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
pursue it, and
Absolutely.
you know, the struggle of the Irish people, you know, is continues as the Cypriots, as the Palestinians, as many other parts in the world. You know, there's an injustice that needs to be brought to justice, to court, under international law. The British prevented it. The British have to. You know, Britain is going through changes. Let's hope Jeremy Corbyn will win the next election.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, it's evolution. It's an evolution, you know.
Yeah.
And this is, well, that is what Turkey doesn't realize, or Erdogan doesn't realize. He's going back. He's going back. You know, what Kemal Atatürk did, it was a way forward. You know, separating religion from the daily life of the state. Good night, Mehmet. Take care. All the best. Okay, we must say good night now. Thank you very much. And we join forces. You know, you're part of the other technical. Do come anytime.
Yeah, well, I'm just across the road in the agency, so I'm not far away.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I do feel very passionate about.
There was an Irish theatre who wants to come and meet me and talk about bringing Irish plays here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know,
I'd love to be.
Let's encourage that. Let's really build it.
Yeah.
You know, and also the struggle of building an extension so we can have more space and more and really expand the work we do and I think that would be great.
Absolutely.
You belong here. So,
thank you,
you know,
well, I sort of
of course.
stumbled in and I'm still knocking around.
You're part of us. You know?
Thank you.
You know, when I went to do an audition for John Littlewood. She was a customer of the Quayle Fellow. And she said, my next play is an Irish play. You got a thick Cypriot accent.
Yes.
And I said, look, I want to work in your theatre. And she said, give me a week to think it over. And then she sent me a little note. And she said, come along and we make one of the characters Irish Cypriot. And I played an Irish delinquent with a Cypriot accent that nobody understood a word I said.
Wow.
But Brendan, Bian, and she loved it, and they gave me the opportunity to enter into a theatre that I didn't know about it, and we are not taught in a drama school, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why from that theatre technique sprung.
Wow, that's a great story, George.
Yes.
Wow.
So this is the link with the Irish.
Yeah.
So you're part of that.
Oh, thanks, George. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same there.
Thanks for the wine. See you soon.
Oh, you're going. Oh,
good.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
a million. Yeah, I'll wait outside here.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
You know, you're great, and you will be remembered.
Oh, thank you. I'm not gone yet.
Yeah, I know you are, but it was what you done for the play. It was great, and thank you. You know, without you, it would be very, very difficult to really.
I didn't do much. I just like did.
Yeah, you did. It was great. The images, yes, it was so easy, but it's so difficult to get somebody who is able to do it, and you've done it.
Well, yeah,
you know?
it was my first time doing it, but I've done sound a couple of times, so I didn't know what to expect, but lighting was completely.
The images, the sound, the lights, you know, it's not easy for one person to operate the 3D. I know at the moment you were difficult to change the music or whatever.
Well, well, I figured out, kind of.
Yes, it's not easy for one person to operate it.
It's a learning process.
But you've done very well. Thank you very much.
No, you too.
Great.
You.
Thank you. And I'll see you on Tuesday. Take care.
Oh, yes. Actually, I'm coming in tomorrow.
You're coming to
tomorrow.
Okay, you're coming to that. Okay, that's great. Yes. And we thank David as well, because David has many problems, and yet he came to really to video this. Yeah, it's not always the perfect situation for video, David, but thank you very much for coming, and we hope that your personal problem will be solved, and we are behind you.
Thank you. Okay, so recording is finished now, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you.
Christmas everybody.
Is there anything else to help? I think we're good.
Nice to see you looking so well, Marulla. Well done.
David, γι' αυτό σου λέω ότι εγώ εννοώ straight. Αλήθεια θέλω να δω. Δεν θέλω μιλούν μου πάμε με μέτε πιέν
εντάξει.
Αλλά it's not that I want. Εγώ θέλω να πω straight κάτι που είναι πραγματικά μπορεί να γίνει και γίνεται.
Κάναμε το βεβαίως. Έγινε. Βεβαίως.
Δηλαδή ολοκάθαρο πράγμα, το ξεκινήσαμε το χωρίς τίποτε να έχουμε.
That's right.
Εγώ τουλάχιστον
με τα δωμάτια μας. So, but David knows all about that.
David, he knows.
David knows.
He knows what I meant when I said things.
David knows all about it. He is a witness of the whole history, and he continues to be part of it.
Και πάντα θα είμαστε κοντά.
Βεβαίως.
Bless
you, David.
Bless you, bless you,
Good
bless
night.
you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.